Welcome back. I'm your host, Darnell Jackson. And in this crypto report, we're going to be talking about why a very popular analyst is predicting a 1000% return on this particular altcoin. But before we do, make sure you subscribe to the most awesome channel on YouTube, Darnell Jackson Crypto. Now, everybody wants a little bit of 1000% return, don't they? Let's look at the agenda. Right now, there is a credible analyst that's talking about 1000x return on a particular altcoin, and they're talking about it happening this cycle. Let's jump over to the headline and take a look at what's going on. This has been reported in the Daily HODL or HODL, depending on where you're from. This article was written by the Daily HODL staff. It's talking about a 1000% return. And so let's take a look at where this came from. All right. The article is talking about, despite the rough crypto markets, a popular analyst and trader says this bull cycle is not over yet. Okay. They're talking about a trader known in the industry as Credible Crypto with 219 Twitter followers. He doesn't believe the market is in a bear territory. Let's go to a quote, okay? He says, when I talk about bear markets, I generally consider those periods of prolonged price depreciation across the board after a completed major impulse. One major impulse hasn't completed yet in this case. I don't consider every correction in the midst of a macro bull market as a bear market. Okay, here's one of these guys that is splitting hairs about what is and what isn't a bear market. He goes on to say, I think our drop from 14,000 to 3,800 was our major wave 2, and this drop from 64,000 to 28,000 is our major wave 4, whatever that means. But yeah, the idea is right. This is a major correction, but expecting another major wave to the upside, wave 5, once it's complete. Okay, this guy is talking some confusion known as Elliott wave theory. If you're not familiar, you can look that up and read all about it and get extremely confused. If you are a master of this concept, and post in the comments. I think it's a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Let's take a look at Credible Crypto over on Twitter so we can get a little bit more information about the source of this prediction. This is at Credible Crypto on Twitter. And the tweet that is bringing the attention is where he's saying that HBAR, also known as Hedera Hashgraph, is going to erupt 1000%. All right. So the actual altcoin is HBAR. We're going to take a look at this and let's see exactly why. So he says he's convinced the enterprise grade distribution ledger project, Hedera Hashgraph, also known as HBAR, will soar a minimum of 1000% in this cycle from its current price of about 18 cents to at least $2. Let's read the quote. He says, I think it could absolutely hit $10 plus, which is why my minimum target is $2 to $5. It could absolutely go much higher, but I would rather aim lower and be happy with the bonus than aim too high and be upset because of my expectations. Okay, well, let's take a look at HBAR. Okay, what exactly is HBAR? I'm going to jump over to the website Hedera.com. Hedera.com, where you can learn everything you want to know about this projected altcoin with the fancy world that you can control on the home page. Let's see if we can find Florida before we move forward. We can't move forward until we find Florida. Okay, there's Florida. And what is it about HBAR? Hedera is the most used enterprise-grade public network for you to make your digital world exactly as it should be yours. Okay, it's talking about the Hedera Governing Council. This is the third generation public ledger, okay? They're talking about how here's a comparison of the performance of Hedera compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum. You can see HBAR compares very favorably in terms of transactions per second. HBAR can do 10,000 plus, whereas Bitcoin and ETH can only do 3 or 12. The average fee is well less than 1 cent, where this is 1,000th of a percent, or is that 1/10,000th of a percent, compared to $22 or compared to about $20. So you can see it's much faster, much cheaper, and it uses much less energy. So these are some of the benefits for HBAR. And I know you're probably wondering, okay, so how do you buy it? Well, here on the site, you can browse to the bottom here, and there is some information on where you can invest. It gives you some links to the actual exchanges. Here's some more network metrics. This is how many transactions it is processing currently. Here is the time latency, the growth, 287,000 accounts. So here is where you can get started if you want to go ahead and invest in HBAR and see if you can get your piece of that 1,000% return. Let's take a look at how far HBAR has come. I'm just going to jump over here to Coinbase. Now, HBAR is not supported on Coinbase, but I'm just checking a look at the graph here. So you can see it's only been around for 2 years, and in 1 year's time it's grown by 300%. So from 3 cents all the way up to 45 cents. And so that gives you an idea of where it has, how far it's come. Let's see how it's done in the last few days or weeks or so. It's actually down since the crash. So it has not made any gains against the crash. It went down to 14 cents and hasn't made that back yet. It hasn't reached its peak before the crash, I should say. It was at 23 cents, went down to 14, and it hasn't regained the 23 cents yet. What else can we say about it? It has a market cap of 1 billion, so it's a very small coin, and its volume is 168 million with a circulating supply of 9 billion. Okay. All right, so let's jump over to the agenda. What is my opinion? Just my opinion about HBAR. Could it go up 1,000x? Well, when you're talking about institutions, you never know what they're actually planning. So you're really not doing yourself a favor when you try to predict something that really is actively being planned. So if there are a number of institutions that already have plans to implement HBAR, this could be a very likely thing to happen. However, if you go by kind of a natural look at HBAR in comparison to other altcoins and how they naturally are growing in terms of popularity, I really don't see any signs that HBAR has that kind of performance in it. I would have looked for a much stronger rebound after the downturn if there was natural demand for this technology. It looks like something that the enterprise investment class could decide to pick up off the shelf. And if they decide to do that, this definitely could take off. Going up 1,000x, my big issue for that would be how that affects the market cap. So if you increase the price the way he predicted, where is that going to put the market cap? Is it going to grow it to the point where it's bigger than ADA? So these are the calculations that we got to be aware of. It could definitely multiply by, it could go up to $100 billion, and that will put it in the ranks of, you're talking about something that's half the size of Ethereum. You can tell by its comparisons, it thinks pretty highly of itself. It's comparing itself to Ethereum and Bitcoin. So maybe that's within the cards. Maybe it is 100 billion, 300 billion range cryptocurrency. That remains to be seen. If it can turn over this type of performance, then really the sky is the limit. Is it worth you to put in a little bit of money and see if you get a 1,000x return? That's my question for you. Post in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the Most Awesome Crypto channel on YouTube. Thank you for checking out this report. Is this the first time you have heard about HBAR? Do you plan on buying? Did you learn anything from this report? Make sure you post in the comments. Thank you for watching. Until the next time. Peace.